record. Okay, today, January 10th, 2024, we keep reading Urantia book with Heidi. This is the 40th meeting. We are reading paper 111, The Adjuster and the Soul, section 5, The Consecration of Choice. 我们今天是与海蒂读玉书第40次会议，读第111篇调整者与灵魂，第5节选择的奉献。第5节比较短，如果时间还有的话，可能连第6节也读了。这一章那么只有剩下的2节就完成了。好的Heidi, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I was just looking ahead. Okay, so yeah, like Ricky said, we've been reading the Thought Adjuster papers, section paper 111. The Thought Adjuster and the Soul is the one we're almost done with. We hope to finish today. And
no, not possible because we have 5, 6, and 7 section.
No, but 5 is
3.
so 5 is so small.
Yeah, it is.
We'll see. And
yes.
and also and then next week, and then as either next week or the week after, whenever we get to it, the next paper is Personality Survival, which is very interesting.
It is. I read a little bit. I just talked with Eric. Yeah, that is another fascinating topic.
Yeah, totally. Everyone's gonna really find that interesting. So this is exciting. Starting the new year, finishing up our Thought Adjuster papers. We're off to a good start.
I'll translate a little bit.
Yes, I forget sometimes that you're translating.
对，那个因为这个第111篇哈，剩5、6、7，他说看看能不能完成，再开始112篇关于人格的续存。我就说我早晨读了一点那一章非常好，非常的引人入胜。海蒂说我们很好，我们新的一年我们把人格调整者的篇章读完，然后开始读新的那个也是非常棒的。好的 ，OK。
Ricky, is there a question in the chat?
他问我聊天当中有没有问题，我看看。Yeah, 灵芝 asked a question. Oh, that's from last time. No, that's 金海，那个你能不能把你的名字后边加上一个英文名字，给自己起个英文名字加在后面，这样的话呢，这个 Heidi 可以认得你。It's about logistic question. It's not about Urantia book,
Okay.
Heidi.
Okay. All right. So I'll start reading section 5. The consecration. It's section 5 in paper 111. The consecration of choice.
对，这个是第111篇的第5部分，这选择的奉献。
The doing of the will of God is nothing more or less than an exhibition of creature willingness to share the inner life with God, with the very God who has made such a creature life of inner meaning value possible. Sharing is godlike, divine. God shares all with the eternal Son and the infinite Spirit, while they in turn share all things with the divine sons and the spirit daughters of the universe. The imitation, I'll keep going. The imitation of God is the key to perfection. The doing of his will is the secret of survival and of perfection in survival. And I'll read a couple more. Mortals. I'm just going to read that again. The imitation of God is the key to perfection. The doing of his will is the secret of survival and of perfection in survival. Mortals live in God, and so God has willed to live in mortals. As men trust themselves to him, so has he, and first trusted a part of himself to be with men, has consented to live in men and to indwell men, subject to the human will. Okay.
哪个伙伴给读一下翻译的部分？王真、金海，你们两个是不是都没有读过？要不要读翻译的？
是不是5.1这个履行神的旨意？
是的，好的，王真你来读吧。
履行神的旨意，无非表明了受造物愿意与神共享内在生命，与使得这样一个具有内在意义价值的生命成为可能的这个神共享。共享就是像神一样神圣的，神与永恒之子和无限之灵共享一切，而后者转而与宇宙中的神性之子和灵性之女共享一切事物。
还有
续吗？
下两段大概。
模仿神是通向完美的关键，履行他的旨意，则是续存及在续存中完美的奥秘。凡人生活在神中，因此神也愿意活在凡人中。正如人们信任神那样，神也一样。首先，他相信自己的一部分与人同在，他同意生活在人里面，服从人的自由意志。
海蒂刚才读了几段，我没有注意，是读到这儿了，还是第4段也读了 ？Eric， 你有没有注意？
应该就是读到这边而已。
读了3段，他读了3段还是读了4段？
应该就读了3段。
哦，OK，Yeah，we are done， Heidi。
Okay. Oh, what's the name of the wonderful lady who's reading?
王真，你把你的
哎
名字后边也加一个，英文名字，王真，Miss Wang，Miss Wang，真王，
哎，我没加，我还以为我加过了呢。
What she says?
Celia 金海
Celia?
Celia 你 no 你也加在后头。Yeah, I'm asking 2 ladies to add English name after their screen name.
It can be anything. It doesn't even have to be a name, right? Because we have
Jen.
Morning Star, and it
Uh-huh.
can be
Yeah.
anything they like.
Jen, yeah,
Water.
the lady who was reading, her last name is
Water.
Jen, first name is Wang. Jen.
Call her water.
Jen, you can call her Jen. 王真，你要不要就叫 Jen？
嘿，
Yeah, but she just added water after her name.
王真 ，Water 这个名儿太不像个名字了，你就叫 Jane 吧，Jane
怎么写
Jane。
？Jane
啊，对
Jane，
对，
好嘞。
What is that? For me? The letters?
You can call this lady Jane, Jane.
G like God.
No, J is for jacket.
J A
Ane, Jane.
J. Oh, Jane.
Jane is the most, the name, English name that most similar to her Chinese name.
Jane.
N-E. Anyway.
I kind of like water, but All right. Okay, water, Jane. Thank you. So, okay, so the doing, so let's just talk about that one. This is so sweet that I think we just lost our other friend. The doing of the will of God is nothing more or less than an exhibition of creature willingness to share the inner life with God, with the very God who has made such a creature life possible. I say that I've been saying that from the very beginning, that we have to share our life with God, because the Urantia book, unlike any other book I've read, the Urantia book always talks about share, not just believing in God or having faith in God, or but sharing your life with God.
对，他就说哈，我从一开始就强调《月染下之书》，他非常强调分享、共享，与神共享我们的生活哈，共享我们的生命，不是说单纯的就是说啊，相信神啊，信靠神啊，怎么样的，就是而是一个共享的一个关系。
So doing God's will, and I mean in language, right? Doing God's will and sharing your life with God are two very different things. But the Urantia book is saying they're the same thing.
对，这就是按神的旨意生活和与神共享，好像是不同的事物，但是月染下之书认为这是同样的事。
So if you had a ruler or a leader or a parent or a boss, you could do their will. You could do what they tell you to do. You could do what they want. But the Urantia book is saying, no, that's not enough. You're not supposed to blindly obey. You're supposed to share your life. You're supposed to, so they're telling us, even before we merge with our thought adjuster, we're supposed to start learning to become, to have one life with them, to open ourselves, our heart, our mind up to them. And because when we do that, they're going, their thought adjuster, God's already sharing with us. We don't know it, but the more we share with God, the more we find out he's always sharing with us.
对，你这个有一个统治者或者一个老板呢，你去那个盲目的，就是他想怎么样，你就遵从他的旨意去做事，跟神啊，愿意遵从神的旨意，与他共享生命啊，与他共有同一个生命，这个是不同的。
So this is basically telling us God doesn't want our obedience. God doesn't want us to just follow him. He wants us to trust him, to love him, to be friends with him.
对，那么就是我们要把自己和心灵的心都开放给思想调整者。那么神不是说单纯的让我们服从或者就是盲目的追随他呀，而是信任他、爱他、跟他做朋友。
So you share your, you can go to work every day and see your boss for 10 years and not share your life with them.
对，那个思想调整者或者神，他已经就是住在我们里面，他愿意跟我们分享。那
You
么
sh-
，no not yet 我们有可能跟一个人同事很多年，但是并不一定跟他是一个分享的关系。
you share your life with the people you trust and love. That's what makes you close. You can't be really close to someone unless you share your life with them.
对，你分享，你是跟你信任和爱的人分享你的生活，对，那个比较，那个接近、亲近的人，对你才愿意跟他分享。
God is saying he wants to know us. He knows us because he's God and he's living inside us, but we have to give him permission to get closer to us. He wants to get as close to us as we will let him get. He wants to know us so much that eventually he will be one person with us.
对，神是渴望跟我们接近的，但是他需要赢得我们的允许，才能靠近我们，因为他那么渴望能了解我们，他甚至想要跟我们成为一。
So the key to absolutely everything in life, in reality, in the universe, the absolute most important key is to decide, to make a decision to do God's will.
对，最关键的实相当中最关键的一点，生命当中关键的一点是做决定来实行神的旨意。
And that seems like a very, very hard thing to do.
对，有时候显然好像很难做到这一点啊。
But this book tells us over and over again, it's not that hard. You just have to share your life with God.
对，那这本书反复的告诉我们反复的一遍一遍告诉我们，其实并不难，我们只要愿意分享跟神分享我们的生命，就可以做到。
And then it says, sharing is godlike, divine. God shares all with the eternal Son and the infinite Spirit. Well, they share all things with the divine sons and the spirit daughters of the universe. So then they're saying sharing is godlike. That's why it's not that easy for us to share with other people. It requires generosity. It requires trust. It requires vulnerability.
对，就是分享，就是像神一样。那么分享呢，需要我们的慷慨，我们的信任，需要就是开放我们的脆弱的一面。
But they're saying sharing is godlike. So when we share, we're already being godlike just by sharing our life with God. We're already being like him to do that.
对，如果我们愿意共享，那么我们在这一点上就是像神一样了，因为神也是愿意共享的。
And then it tells us that God shares everything with the infinite Spirit and the eternal Son.
对，这地方就说神与永恒之子和无限之灵共享一切，就是三位一体嘛，它是最上面的，那么它跟另外的三位一体另外的两个主体，它都是共享的关系。
And what we want is to grow, to become more and more godlike. That's our goal. That's our goal in life. And when I say life, I mean eternal life. So our goal in life is to be more and more godlike.
对，我们成长的目标就是得到永恒的生命呢，就是像神一样，有一个是有共享的生命。
And they say God is a sharer. He loves to share.
对，神是共享者，他热爱共享。
And then the next little tiny paragraph, one sentence, the imitation of God is the key to perfection. The doing of his will is the secret of survival and of perfection in survival. So, okay. So the imitation of God is the key to perfection. So that's what we just said. So we want to be more and more like God. So we want to try to be more and more like it. And that's how we will become perfect.
对，模仿神嘛，就是越来越像神嘛，对吧？那个就是通往完美的关键。
But the doing of his will, which we know, they just told us, and you do that by how you do that. The doing of his will is the secret of survival.
但是履行他的旨意呢，就是按他的旨意，那个在人格当中，是达到续存的，达到续存和在续存中完美的奥秘。
And of perfection in survival.
对
and I'll explain that.
对，他要解释这2点。
Because they're saying, okay, you want to be like God, try, you imitate God and to be perfect, and then you do God's will to survive, but that's the secret of survival and of perfection in survival, because basically one leads to the other. If you do God's will and you survive, you're on the road to becoming like God, to becoming perfect. So that's why it will lead to that. You don't really have to worry too much about trying to be like God. You know, if you do God's will, you'll be more and more like God, and then you will eventually we will be perfect.
对呀，你履行他的旨意呢，然后呢，就是才能达到续存呢。在续存当中，自然而然呢，就是会通向完美。对，就是会，这个是连在一起的。
So the next little paragraph is, mortals live in God, and so God has willed to live in mortals. So when they, when they say, I mean, a lot this, other religions and other teachers also say that we live in God, that everything lives in God, that everything in the universe is a part of God. So you could say we live in his imagination. He imagined us, and he created us, and he's in every cell of our being. He's everywhere in the universe. So yes, all reality takes place in God.
对，我就是下一段那个，凡人生活在神中，那么实际上所有的万事万物都是神的一部分，或者说我们都活在神的想象当中。我们从这个我们的每一个细胞的广大的宇宙都是在神里边发生的。
I mean, people deny it. Atheists can say there is no God, but if there was no God, they wouldn't exist. There would be no universe. We wouldn't be having this conversation. God created everything.
这个无神论者呢，否认神的存在，但是呢，如果没有神，他自己都不会存在。那么，对，这整个的宇宙都是神创造的。
Now this is me talking, not in the book. How he did it, why he did it, what was going on before he did it, those are things I don't know about. Those are questions I cannot answer.
You mean the atheist?
No, I mean, I'm saying God created everything, all reality, all existence. They say they don't believe in God, but if there was no God, they wouldn't even be here to say they don't believe in him. He's everything we are, the universe, he created all of it. We're only here because of God.
对，我们
So
在这里啊，能存在啊，都是神创造了我们。那么，如果没有神的话，他根本那个无神论者他都没有可能在这里存在，然后在这宣称没有神。
but then I'm saying, as a Heidi comment, not in the book, I'm saying,
但这些都是他在说话，不是月亮下之书的里边的。
how God created everything, I don't know. Why he created everything, I don't know. What was going on before he created everything, I don't know.
那他是怎么创造万物的？我不知道。他在创造万物之前做什么，我也不知道。
And I say, and I'm saying this because I'm sure I'm not the only one who has these questions, and they're not answered in the Urantia book. Those questions are not answered in the Urantia book.
对，我肯定不是第一个有这些问题的人，但是月亮下之书也没有回答这个。
The Urantia book concerns with this reality that God created, not before, not why. But but it says maybe there was no before. See, that's the, we think about time before, after, but they say it always was. So that's why maybe the question, what was going on before God created everything, is just a stupid earthly question, because I'm thinking in a timeline, and maybe, maybe in eternity there is no before. That's what the Urantia book does say, that the universe is eternal. It always was.
对，那个有可能就是始终是如一，始终是这样子，根本就没有在创造之前怎么样，或者为什么这些，有可能我们有这些问题，只是因为我们在时间线的思维方式去思考，可能这个问题本身就是错误的。
But I can't wrap my head around that.
我还是没办法用我的物质头脑想得通这些事情。
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Once we were in higher dimension, we automatically understand without such questions.
Yeah, hopefully. They'll
Uh,
have another Urantia book for us at the next phase to
Uh-huh.
answer the next set of questions.
yeah. 对，我就说我们在高维的以后就可能没有这些问题了。他说对呀，那个就是有另外的一本书，大概就是对针对那样的头脑的，不是现在的头脑。
But one thing I just thought of reading this, what we just read, is that, this is our first life, and they say, and we have all these other lives, and then we live for eternity, and our life is infinite, and billions and billions of years and all that. But that's nice, that's good to know. But this, from being born as a little animal earthling to becoming perfect and merging with God, happens very, very quickly. We go from just being a human and being able to choose to be evil or good and survive or not, and within the next couple lives, on the mansion worlds, we merge with God and become perfect. Once we merge with our thought adjuster, we become perfect beings. Now we can keep getting more and more knowledgeable and wise, and increasing ourselves in a million different ways, but we are perfect at that point. That's what they're saying here, and perfection in survival, that happens very quickly. So I think that's really good news. It's like, you don't have to wait that long. It
Yeah,
happens
yeah.
in the very beginning. And when you think of your whole career as a being, right? You're born on earth and you go all the way to a mighty messenger in the end. In the very, very, very beginning, you merge with your thought adjuster and become perfect. So that's really good news.
这当然是我们的凡人生涯，然后是我们这永世当中的第一次生命。那么前面有无尽的生命等着我们。我们当然就是出生是一个动物的肉身的凡人之体，但是很快呢，我们能够达成在善恶之间做好的选择，能够达成续存了之后，迁移到窄下世界之后，我们慢慢就在向完美的存造物方向去进展。我们会更多的了解生命，变得更加的智慧啊、明智啊，在自我通向完美的路上。
I mean, it's a little scary. It's a little scary, and it's a little difficult in this first life, because we're on a rebel planet, and we don't know, we have to use our faith. We have to be an agandanta. We have to believe without being shown. But even when you're on a rebel planet, and this first life is very, very short, and very soon we'll have the best partner anyone could ever have, and that partner will be us. We will be God, half God. We'll be God beings, godlike human gods, very, very soon. I mean, that's very, very exciting. I know I'm saying very a lot, but
Yeah. 对，当然我们现在这个第一个人生这个生涯哈，非常的难，在这样一个 背叛的星球上面，但需要就是没有看见，但是又要有信心，对谁有信心但是呢，这样一个艰难的人生是非常短暂的。那过了之后，我们就有最好的伙伴来一直跟我们同在，我们就成为一个神的存有，我们就是一个人神，这是非常的令人激动的，激动人心的。
So it's it's a little bit difficult here, this first life. We do have to suffer. We do have to suffer sometime a bit. We all have to suffer a little bit. It is difficult. It is a little scary, but we're allowed to make that choice very quickly and move on and become one with our thought adjusters very, very quickly. It's like the worst is over very quick. It's like, okay, you have to go to this, difficult school so we can tell who's going to make it and who's not, who's got what it takes, who doesn't. But after that, you're going to have, you'll still have challenges, but you'll be part God. So that means you're going to always master every challenge. It is sometimes sooner, sometimes later. There'll be disappointments, there'll be delays, but as God, as part of you, you're always going to succeed. Success is guaranteed very, very early on.
对，当然我们要受一点苦啊，有的时候觉得很困难，有一些害怕，但是呢，我们很快就会通过这个阶段，对，与思想调整者，也就是对，与神融合那个，对，然后这个最差的、最坏的部分就肯定就很快在我们身后了。那当然这是一个很难的学校，但是你要通过了这些的挑战呢，然后你就是部分的，你就是神。你是神的一部分，然后你这些挑战，你或早或晚你都会掌握的。有一些的，耽搁也没有关系，对，因为神是你的一部分，成功是有保障的。
And then I'll read the next couple sections. Peace in this life, survival in death, perfection in the next life. See, did I read that? Service? No, I didn't.
No.
Service in eternity. All these are achieved in spirit now, when the creature personality consents, chooses to subject the creature will. Actually, I'm just going to read this one paragraph. Okay, but I'm going to start again. Peace in this life, survival in death, perfection in the next life, service in eternity. All these are achieved in spirit now, when the creature personality consents, chooses to subject the creature will to the Father's will, and already has the Father chosen to make a fragment of himself subject to the will of the creature personality.
王真读第4段。
Water.
王真在吗？在的话，还有哪个伙伴在？给读一下翻译的部分。
I'll read the next paragraph.
刘丽雪 Celia 也可以读 ，Celia 方便吗？她继续往下读，然后你们谁准备好了，在聊天区打个字。Okay, yeah. 5th.
Do you want me to read the next paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay. Such a creature.
Celia 你读啊，你读吧。第4部分，第4段，5.4。
第4 OK， 今生的平安，死亡中的续存，下一生的完美，永恒中的服务，所有这些都可以在现在，在灵性上实现。只要受造物人格同意，选择使受造物的意志服从于天父的旨意。 而天父已经选择让他自己的片段服从于受造物人格的意志。
OK，
Okay.
这样呢，还要读吗
No, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, Heidi, you read.
Yeah, I just read that one little paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mhm.
so that I just read that one paragraph because it's such an interesting one. It's I mean it's actually amazing. It says peace in this life, survival in death, perfection in the next life, service in eternity. All these are achieved now, and your personality consents, chooses to do the Father's will. Now, that's truly amazing sentence.
他说这第一句啊，这第四小节的第一句是非常令人惊异的。今生的平安，死亡中的续存，下一生的完美，永恒中的服务。
So I was just saying how fast, how quickly we go from being a little animal to being a God person, you know, in just the first lives, you know, our life on earth, our little short little life here, and then a few mansion lives, 1, 2, 3, whatever, and we merge. I mean, that's very, very quick because then we live for all eternity. But they're saying something even more extraordinary. We can guarantee all of that right here, right now.
那个，对，它第一次的动物的生命哈，它是非常短的小生命，然后很快我们就会跟思想调整者融合。
I said a minute ago that once we merge with our thought adjuster, which happens very, very early on, then success from then on. Right now, we might make it, we might not, we don't know. But once we merge with the thought adjuster, success is guaranteed. We will become perfect. We will meet God. We will achieve our destiny. We will live forever.
对，那个这样的群融合之后呢，成功啊，就是讲相当于有保证的，我们会变得完美，我们会有机会与神面对面，我们对，就是对，
Because God doesn't fail.
神永远不败落。
But here they're saying that success, that merging with God is guaranteed right now if we choose to do the will of God and we sincerely mean it right now, today, this moment, we can guarantee the rest of eternity that we'll merge with God, that we'll meet God, that we'll have a life of service for all eternity. All of that can be guaranteed right now. We can make that decision right here, right now, because God lives inside us and we can make an agreement with God. Yes, I'm going to take that journey with you.
对，我们现在就可以选择真诚的选择，跟神去合一。那么相当于我们剩下的就是永恒哈，就是有保障的。所以就是相当于我们跟内里的我们这个神，就是建立这样的合约。那么这个成功，这个永存，这个在永恒当中的服务，下一生的完美啊，永恒当中的服务，这些都是有保障的。
Now,
I have a question.
sure.
So here's the two concepts, right? One is to do the will of God. Another thing is to subject to the will of God. Are those two things the same? Because here, so we discussed to do the will of God, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then also there's another concept to subject to the
Yeah,
will of
yeah,
God.
I see when it says, yeah, when the creature personality consents, chooses to subject the creature will to the Father's will. It's the same thing. They're just saying it a different way. So to do God's will is to subject my will to God's will. That
Because
is,
later, if you see, right? So later it said, the Father chosen to make a fragment of himself subject to the will of the creature personality. If we apply, then it means to do the will of the creature personality. It doesn't sound right, right?
yes, subject to the will of the Father's will, chooses to subject the creature will, and then I think it's just another way of saying you're subject to the will. It's just it would mean the same thing if it just said, well, actually the thought adjuster is subject to our will at all times, always. That's a fact.
But he's not doing our will, right?
But he is if our will is to do his will.
Yeah, that's why I said the doing and the subject to.
Yeah, I understand, Eric.
Yeah.
It's a kind of subtle difference.
Yeah, no, it's
Um,
tricky. It's tricky, but
It's tricky, but
Yeah.
that means actually God's will is higher than us. But when he's subject to us, he's not doing our will. But he is just yield and kind of subject to that means whatever you want to do, you can do it. My will, you can leave my will aside, put my will aside. That's okay for
yeah.
now.
There's
But-
never two competing wills in our mind inside of us. Our will is supreme. In the thought adjuster, has his own will, he can do what he wants, but when it comes to our life and our decisions, our will, he chooses to subject himself to our will always. But now that he's done that, I can say, I choose to subject my will to your will. Now he can make decisions. He can guide me. He can suggest things. He can, because that is my will. As long as my will is, I can choose to subject my will to his will. He will automatically subject his will to my will inside of me when it comes to my life. Does that make sense?
那个是刚才艾瑞克的问题是问到，就是使受造物的意志服从于天父的旨意和执行神的旨意，这两个有区别吗？然后那个海蒂是说这两个应该是同一个意思啊，但是呢，最后一句呢，这一段就是说天父已经选择让他自己的片段服从于受造物人格的意志。那么这个是不是就是有两个意志在那儿，然后是谁服从谁的问题？然后那个海蒂是说，在我们里边没有两个意志在那儿竞争，它不是一个竞争的关系。那么神在我们里边，他一直实际上是尊重我们人格的意志，就是我们的人格的意志，它是。那就是他的片段只能提供建议，对，但是受到人格的意志，他是领导，他是决定那个要怎么样取向的。OK，
It's just who's the boss. Okay? He's not the boss. He's inside of us, but he's not our boss. We're the boss. We're always the boss, but we can make him the boss.
对，谁是老板？就是我们的自由意志是老板，但是呢，我们可以让这个思想调整者做我们的老板，我们就是授权型的。
We talked about this last week. I think, Eric, were you here last week?
No, but I listened to the recording.
Oh,
yeah.
no. Then 2 weeks ago, we talked with you about the pilot, about the thought adjuster being the pilot. So
Yes.
when he's the pilot, we say, okay, you're the pilot. It's my will. I'm the boss, but you're the pilot. You take this boat. You drive it the way you want to drive it. There's a storm coming up. You handle the boat. I'll just go along with whatever you say. So that's exactly it. Now I'm subject to your will, but I'm still the boss. You're only doing it because I gave you permission to do it. You can't just take my boat and say, I'm going to drive where I want. No, I have to hire you to be my pilot.
Yeah, I understand that. Yes.
Yeah, so that's the subject. Just think of like, who's the boss? That's all, but it's always up to us. But we can make God the boss anytime. And it's a good thing if we do, because then we're guaranteed eternal life, perfection, and the service in eternity. It's a good decision to make.
对，就是我们永远是老板，我们可以授权这个像调整者做我们的领航员。那这个好处在于，如果我们这样的信任他、授权他的话，我们就能保证今生的平安、死亡中的续存、下一生的完美以及永恒中的服务。
I mean, we have these huge egos, okay, which I think are a good thing. I think they evolved. We needed them, because we're as savage beings, not knowing God, not having thought adjusters. We needed these egos to survive, but we still have them. We still have them, and we need them. We need them, but we don't need them if we make God the boss. But they're going to stop us. Our egos are going to say, no, I want to be the boss. Don't get rid of me. I'm here. I can make good decisions. And then we say, no, you've done your job. I have someone now who's better than you, who can make better decisions than you. I'm going to make God the boss, not my ego.
对，但是小我呢，他总是会跳出来，他不愿意，就是说把他的主导地位让给别人。但是呢，如果我们选择让神做我们的老板，那个小我会跳出来说：“不要把我fire掉，不要把我炒掉。”但是我们会跟他说：“我就是要把你fire掉，因为我找到更好的，可以帮我做更好的决定的。”
But it's hard to let go. It's hard to trust God. It's hard to, that's why there's so many micromanagers out there. It's hard to trust people, let alone God to run the show. You have to be humble. Your ego wants to say, no, I don't need God's help. I can make the best decisions. I can handle myself. And then you have to say, no, God will do a better job. You'll make better decisions if you let God be the pilot. If you follow him, if you take his lead, you'll make better decisions.
对，那个小我是很难放手的，很难去信任，总是愿意就是说，微管理，就是插手这个那个，不让神完全的掌握全局，不愿意让神来独自把这场演出来就是主导完，我们就是需要神。就是我们如果实际上我们就是要告诉他，对，就是我找到了这个神，他会我们只要遵从他的旨意，遵从他的教导，我们会就是应该是结果会更好。
It's always hard to get rid of, it's always hard to let go of power. And last week we were reading that in our own mind, we have all the power. We're sovereign of our own minds. In our own, we don't control reality, but we control our own decisions. So we have incredible power when it comes to our own minds. And God is saying, if you trust me, you have to let go of that power. I will steer you. I will lead you. And it's not easy to let go of power.
对，就是放下那个权力的控制是非常难的。对，我们不用控制实相，但是我们可以控制我们做什么样的决定。那么神，就是如果我们信任神的话，就要放下这个自我掌控的欲望。
Mothers don't want to let go of their children and give them their own power. husbands don't want to, they want to control their wives, or wives want, in America, wives usually control their husbands.
那个妈妈不愿意放弃对孩子的掌控，这个丈夫呢不愿意放弃对妻子的掌控。当然在美国，有的时候实际上总是妻子的掌控丈夫。
Kings want to control the people. They don't want to give the people any power.
对，国王呢，就要掌控他的臣民，他不愿意给他们的子民任何的权利。
Bosses want to control their employees.
对，老板呢想要掌控他的雇员，对，对。
But you know, the things that are hardest to do are usually the most rewarding.
对，最难做到的往往就是奖励最大的。
And having that power in your own mind and letting it go and saying, here, God, you drive, you take control. I trust you. It's I mean, it's such an obvious thing. You've got God inside you. Why wouldn't you trust God? You know, I mean, it's such an obvious good choice, but it's still hard to make.
对，那就是我们那个要就是放弃放手嘛，让神来掌握我们的人生的舵船。当然是很难做到这样的放手，但是呢，如果能做到，还是非常的，对，有奖赏的这样的行为。
And here it explains it more. It says, such a creature choice is not a surrender of will. It is a consecration of will, an expansion of will, a glorification of will, a perfecting of will. And such choosing raises the creature will from the level of temporal significance to that higher estate wherein the personality of the creature son communes with the personality of the Spirit Father.
金海还在吗？第5段。
还在。这样的受造物选择并不是放弃意志，它是意志的奉献、意志的扩展、意志的荣耀、意志的完善。这种选择将受造物意志从世俗性意义的层次提升到更高的状态，在那里受造之子的人格与灵性之父的人格融为一体。
好的，谢谢。
It's again, that's so beautiful because you're not giving anything up. You're not surrendering. You're not saying, okay, I give up, you win, you can do it. It's not that. You're saying, you see, life is so miraculous because whenever you think you're giving something up or letting something go, you always end up getting more. It's very, I would say reality, the universe is a little bit tricky like that.
Indeed, yeah, that's wonderful. 他说这个第5段哈也是非常的棒的。实际上，当我们真正放下什么的时候，臣服的时候，其实我们是得到更多的。这个跟老子的观念是一样的。那并不是说，哎呀，我投降了，你赢了，你来做吧。生命是非常的奇迹的。那当你放下的时候，实际上你得到更多。
So the reason it's so hard to do God's will is because it feels like a surrender. But the minute you do it, you realize it's not a surrender. You're not giving up anything. You're just getting so much more. It's like you're not giving up your will. You're expanding your will. You're sharing your life with God. You're letting God's will become your will.
对对，你这个其实不是说你投降， 而是当你其实你那个放下的时候，你得到更多，实际上是你扩展你的自由意志，你跟神来分享，然后更让神成为你的意志。
They're saying we can be that merged God-like being right now, because once we're doing the Father's will right now, right here, we're already acting God-like.
对，就是我们跟神合一，就成为一个像神一样的存有，就是现在就是可以做到的。
So it feels like a surrender. It's like here's the trick, the universe trick. They tell you you have to surrender, but the moment you surrender, you realize it wasn't a surrender. You it's a glorification. It's a perfection. Your will has now just expanded. You didn't give up anything. You just gained. Now you have this big, beautiful will that you know exactly